silent peace march threatens the state so much. Yesterday, we were on this walk for peace. And we went on this walk for peace, just like in Bombay they're doing, and we were walking. We had nothing with us, no banners, no placards, nothing. ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಮೊದಲೇ ನಾನೊಂದು ಕನ್ಫೆಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಮುಂದೆ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಕನ್ನಡನ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನನ್ನ ಕನ್ನಡನ. ನನಗೆ ಭಾಳ ಸತಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಜನ. So I will prefer to talk in English because this richness of this life cannot be covered otherwise. I'm honored, I'm humbled. I'm not sure why I was called because their legacy, what they have, is so much to speak about. But I would just like to say that this word swa artha is so meaningful and so needed today. Because today it is being converted to swartha. And that swartha is what is taken over our lives and our society. And this is what we have to continue to fight against. And what the Kamats, what they have been doing all along. In this journey, in this long journey, where we have also been part of this 40 years of struggle all over the country, all over society, what is happening in society. But one thing is, when I came to Bangalore, I came to know only Dilip much lesser than others. But in the discussions about communalism, and the discussions about workers, in the discussions about that, we were all, of course, far away, distantly connected. And then, of course, Nilima also I came to know much later. But over the years, of course, like two different trains on two different tracks, but reaching the same station. So we were like that. So I was on the track of workers, women's rights, urban area, Bangalore, Belgaum, Mangalore. And Dilip, of course, was all over, was also intellectual integrity is what we need, and that is what is there with them. As well as the fact that when we got back to Belgaum, we started working as the Domestic Workers' Rights Union in Belgaum. And that was the time that I decided that I must get this wonderful resource to our meetings. And of course, he came and readily agreed to be part, inspired the women also. And we were basically talking about that time when the 2014 elections, from 2014 till 10 years of the report card of the government in existence at that time, and the government that continues to rule. So the class that he took up, or the shibir that he took up, was very inspiring because it was not just intellectual shibir. It was the words of people, words of person who has been in the field. You know, there are very many kinds of people. There are people who have fantastic intellectual thoughts, fantastic writing works they do, fantastic books they can write. But there are very few people who can make this connection between practice and theory. And there are very few people who can bring about the thing about personal is political. We sometimes divide it into two compartments. And we try to keep our lives separate because we don't want to take the risk. So it is at this time, in this time of what the country is going through, in this time of anger, in this time of hate, in this time of violence, that we need people who have taken the richness of all philosophies. There are people in different organizations, different parties, different very well-meaning democratic movements who stick to one ideology and nothing else, as if that is the purest. And this purity and pollution that is dictated by caste is what is happening in our country. So we cannot take anything as just pure. Everything has to have its balance and take from every philosophy that is good in that philosophy, and that is what they have done and they have shown in their, also in whatever little writings I can read. Another thing that I learned was that basically their lives, I would say, is almost matching the African philosophy of Ubuntu. That is, we are because you are. And, so this entire thing of being a collective, of being part of a society, of including everyone in the society is very well brought out as far as I know about the work that they have done and they continue to do. And I'm so glad that I've been able to be part of this journey. I've been able to learn from this. And I would just like to say that as the Constitution is getting more and more out of our hands, we need more and more Constitution warriors like this. And although we are all growing old at the same platform we are, we need more and more youngsters also to come forward as Constitution warriors. And I'll just end with saying that how a silent peace march threatens the state so much. Yesterday, we were on this walk for peace. And we went on this walk for peace, just like in Bombay they're doing, and we were walking. We had nothing with us, no banners, no placards, nothing. But the immediate reaction of the state that has become so, dominant, powerful, oppressive, was that you can't walk. There are 100 people walking on Church Street up and down, but you can't walk. Because they've got information that there are people who are assembling. He said, there's no assembly here. What I'm trying to say is that, and then we were detained, and then we were made as preventive custody, something was written. All this is the game that is going on now. All this is much more becoming, much more becoming a part of regular life. And that is where we need to go back to the reflections that people have made, that Kamits have made on the journey. We need to learn from there, and we need to go further with those, because otherwise we'll be stuck. If you're going to stick to the old, we have to reimagine continuously our movement in future. And I think that is what we can do with having more and more networks of people like Kamits also built up. And I'm only saying that I'm glad that I at least came back to being with them and understanding them and connecting to them back again, I think after a gap of some 10 years in between, but we were always there in the horizon anyway. Thank you so much.